at exactly 3:41 p.m. On February 7, 2026, the illusion shattered, and it shattered in front of the entire world. Meghan Markle, draped in ivory and expectation, walked toward the Chanel flagship on North Rodeo Drive, believing doors would open the way they always had, silently, smoothly, reverently. Instead, she met two security guards and a sentence that detonated like a bomb in the middle of Beverly Hills: "We've been instructed not to accommodate you." And just like that, the woman who once floated between couture houses as a humanitarian-style icon was frozen in place, blacklisted, erased, excommunicated from the most sacred temple of fashion. This wasn't confusion. It wasn't a scheduling error. It wasn't a snub from a distracted boutique manager. It was global, calculated. Weeks earlier, inside Chanel's Rue Cambon headquarters in Paris, executives had finalized what insiders whispered about as the nuclear option, a worldwide blacklist so absolute it left no wiggle room, no back channel, no quiet workaround, no appointments, no private suites, no show invites, no discreet gift boxes delivered to Montecito. Meghan Markle's name had been removed from the system across regions, and when Chanel goes silent, silence itself becomes the message. Witnesses say she froze mid-text, sunglasses hiding the shock but not the tension in her jaw. The air around Rodeo Drive shifted. Luxury shoppers slowed their steps. Across the street, a Dior staffer reportedly watched as Meghan made an urgent call, pacing like a coiled spring, voice low but electric. "They'll be fired. I swear they'll be fired. No one humiliates me like this." It wasn't a meltdown, not yet. It was disbelief morphing into fury. She had walked in expecting ritual. She was met with refusal. Within 20 minutes, Prince Harry arrived, hood low, face tight. He spoke briefly with the head of security. A nod, a firm shake of the head. No exceptions, no compromises. He turned to her and said quietly, "Let's go, please." But she didn't move immediately. 12 full minutes passed, enough for 3 viral clips to hit social media, including one where she pointed toward the boutique and mouthed, "You don't know who I am." The doors never opened. That behind that frozen fade of Chanel's glass doors lay a dossier, a file thick enough to justify what insiders called retrait definitive, final withdrawal. According to leaked internal documents, this protocol is reserved for extreme circumstances, violation of brand ethics, betrayal of intellectual trust, repeated public volatility. And in Chanel's view, Meghan had checked every box. The fracture didn't begin on Rodeo Drive. It began 14 months earlier in Paris, December 5th, 2024. A private Chanel atelier, an unofficial visit arranged through a stylist friend. She allegedly introduced herself as a creative partner linked to an initiative and requested access to sketches from the upcoming line. Staffers say she didn't merely inquire, she directed. Rename trims, soften the French stiffness, reimagine structure. One archivist later whispered that the room turned instantly cold. Chanel is not an incubator for celebrity reinvention. It is a house, a temple. Temples do not rebrand themselves around outsiders. That days later, her name quietly vanished from a guest list. The first move in a silent chess game had been made. Rewind further. Spring 2023, the so-called mood board war, what began as exploratory discussions for a limited edition humanitarian capsule, spiraled into institutional conflict. Meghan's team pitched a bold concept merging Coco Chanel's legacy with modern empowerment branding. Ambitious, flashy, controversial. Chanel, methodical and fiercely protective of its DNA, hesitated. Then came the June 14, 2023 meeting in New York, the one insiders still talk about in lowered voices. She arrived with a glossy presentation titled Reimagine Chanel, From Exclusivity to Empathy. The proposal reportedly included replacing the interlocking double C logo with a floral motif, launching campaigns with real women instead of runway models, and positioning herself front and center as both face and voice of the line. There was even a handbag named Diana. When asked whether she had approval to reference Princess Diana's name, she allegedly shrugged, "I carry her legacy. I don't need a license to honor it." The temperature in that room dropped 10 degrees. Within days, a mood board leaked archive photos of Princess Diana layered beside Meghan in mirrored silhouettes. A slide titled From Grief to Glamour. Chanel's legal team triggered an ethics alert. The issue wasn't aesthetic, it was existential, suggesting Chanel's heritage could be leveraged to rewrite someone someone else's narrative crossed a sacred boundary. By July 1st, communications were cut. A no-engagement directive circulated quietly. The project died without ceremony. But it did not end there. Emails later surfaced hinting at resentment. They used me for press, then shut the door. I'll outgrow them. From that point forward, fashion houses began watching, not collaborating. Watching died. By early 2026, Chanel's brand integrity unit had compiled an exhaustive record. Alleged demands for co-creative credit, testimonies from former staffers describing her as controlling, emails interpreted as pressure tactics. In Paris, legacy outweighs celebrity. The decision, insiders insist, was strategic, not emotional. So when security uttered the phrase "this applies across regions," it wasn't improvisation. It was choreography, a global directive echoing through boutiques from Beverly Hills to Rue Cambon. Inside Chanel, employees had reportedly been briefed days earlier: do not engage, do not escalate, hold the line. What makes those 12 minutes unforgettable is not screaming, it's silence. No shouting match. No dramatic scene, just the weight of centuries-old discretion pressing down. In haute couture, exile is quiet. Doors do not slam. They remain closed with conviction. And as she paced outside that velvet rope, narrating into her phone about systemic exclusion and corporate hostility, insiders say footage was sent to her PR strategist with a chilling subject line: "Use this if we go nuclear." But Chanel did not react. They did not clarify. They did not defend. Because in their world, reaction grants relevance and silence denies it. By nightfall, internal Slack messages reminded client managers worldwide: refer to standard protocols, no external comment, position unchanged. The industry was closing ranks. This wasn't merely a boutique refusal. It was institutional excommunication, an entire system aligning in wordless agreement. The woman who once walked into couture houses as a duchess, disruptor, humanitarian, had collided headfirst with a fortress built on tradition and control. And on that sunlit afternoon in Beverly Hills, as Harry guided her away and the glass doors remained untouched, the message from Paris to California was unmistakable. In fashion's highest circles, access is everything, and once revoked, it rarely returns by the time the sun rose over Paris 2 days. After the Beverly Hills standoff, the decision had already metastasized. What happened outside that Chanel boutique wasn't an isolated humiliation, it was the public confirmation of a verdict that had been quietly circulating through marble corridors and gilded boardrooms for weeks. On February 9th, under the discreet authority of France's most powerful luxury consortium, a private roundtable convened. Representatives from LVMH, carrying Chanel's advisory circle, and heritage houses whose names define entire generations of couture reportedly aligned behind a single unspoken resolution: distance, remove, disengage. That no official minutes were released. None ever are. But a leaked summary revealed language so cold it could frost glass, remove her from guest lists, showroom access logs, press kit distributions, influencer collaborations. Not a feud, not a debate, a boundary. Chanel had acted first and most visibly, but within 48 hours, other houses quietly reinforced the perimeter. Dior boutiques reconfirmed internal access tiers. Balenciaga reviewed digital campaign rosters. Even brands once rumored to be circling Meghan for ambassador roles withdrew into careful silence. The shift was immediate and breathtaking. Stylists who once name-dropped her with pride began hesitating mid-sentence. A European fashion editor described the reaction as code 4. Pause, silence, redirect. Don't ask again. Fashion Week Paris loomed on the calendar, but her name was conspicuously absent from provisional invites. No front row, no backstage whispers, no camera pans catching her arrival beside Anna Wintour. Invisible. And invisibility is the one thing celebrity branding cannot survive. That inside Montecito, the mood reportedly shifted from indignation to strategy. Legal channels were explored almost immediately. On February 8th, Meghan's longtime entertainment attorney convened calls with a high-profile New York litigation firm. The objective: explore defamation, discrimination, reputational harm. Drafts floated ideas like tortious interference and emotional distress. Internally, the effort was labeled Project Salvage, but seasoned legal minds dismissed the premise bluntly. No law forces a private fashion house to maintain a relationship. It's not discrimination, it's discretion. Within days, the lawsuit strategy was shelved, so she pivoted. At 11:17 a.m. Pacific time on February 9th, an email from Archwell's communications director hit more than 40 media inboxes. The subject line: an ongoing pattern, women of color in luxury spaces. Chanel's name wasn't written, but it hovered between every line. The narrative attempted to reframe exclusion as systemic bias, linking past tabloid battles, royal tension, and corporate hostility into one sweeping arc. Only one outlet published a sympathetic op-ed. The rest declined. Internally, former staffers described the atmosphere as a spiral. WhatsApp messages allegedly revealed urgent instructions, push the humanitarian angle harder, leverage Diana if necessary, remind them who I am. But something had changed. Instead of momentum, the leaks felt reactive. Instead of empowerment, critics saw deflection. A European brand consultant put it mercilessly, she doesn't move product, she moves headlines. Then came the email that set Paris ablaze. Dated January 28th, weeks before the Rodeo Drive incident, Chanel's fashion president allegedly wrote to senior leadership, "There are moments when silence protects the house more than any response." This is one. "We cannot be expected to absorb chaos for the sake of celebrity. The decision regarding was strategic, not emotional." The message, intended to remain private, leaked onto a restricted industry server and spread like wildfire. In one stroke, speculation solidified into doctrine that it wasn't personal, it was structural, that within days the ripple effect expanded beyond couture. Streaming executives reportedly re-evaluated pending projects. A documentary concept centered on reimagining royal legacy through fashion stalled. One producer described it as dead in the water. The reason wasn't content quality, it was perception. No major brand wants proximity to volatility. Invitations to podcasts disappeared. Tentative collaborations evaporated. Fashion PR spreadsheets quietly added her name under Tier 1 high risk. The most devastating part? The silence from allies. No high-profile fashion mogul rushed to defend her. No legacy house issued a conciliatory statement. Media boosters who once amplified her remained publicly neutral. In luxury, neutrality often means distance. Even whispers from Windsor complicated the picture. Insiders suggested Prince Harry had quietly explored limited institutional re-entry through discreet charity channels. The caveat relayed through extended royal circles was blunt: Meghan cannot be involved. Whether true or strategic rumor, the implication was brutal. Separation of brand survival back in California, practical consequences mounted. Donor fatigue reportedly hit foundation funding. A lifestyle product line stalled in storage units. Multiple fashion collaboration refusals halted outreach entirely. Influence, once fluid and expansive, now felt boxed in. And yet, here's the paradox that makes this saga combustible: controversy keeps her name alive. While Paris closed its doors, headlines multiplied. Public opinion fractured. Supporters framed her as a disruptor punished for audacity. Critics saw entitlement colliding with tradition. The truth, as always, sits somewhere in the smoke that luxury insiders insist the message has already been etched in marble. At this level, there are no second chances. Once removed from the call sheet, reinstatement is nearly mythological. Access in couture is currency. Lose it, and even global recognition struggles to compensate that in the world of legacy brands. Power whispers. It doesn't shout. And when it withdraws, it does so with finality that echoes longer than any viral clip. Meghan Markle walked towards Chanel expecting reverence. She left confronting something colder: collective judgment, not just from one house, but from an ecosystem that values discretion over disruption. The fallout isn't just about handbags or guest lists, it's about what happens when personal branding collides with centuries-old authority. Influence can trend. Legacy endures. And in that quiet standoff on Rodeo Drive, the fashion establishment reminded the world exactly which one it believes matters more.